This week on Game Plan, we travel 180 kilometers northeast of Manila to Dingalan town in Aurora. We go in and around town to check out some rock formations, a battle memorial, a hot spring, and a whole lot of wildlife. I'm looking at this rock formation here behind us. It's so interesting. Next, we learn about Dingalan's indigenous culture straight from the native Dumagats themselves. Lastly, we cross the seas and trek up mountains to discover Dingalan's flora and fauna. This is when animals gone wild. Stay tuned for the next half hour as we take you to a place of beauty and wonder. A place deserving of everyone's attention. All these are coming your way in today's Game Plan. A mere 4-hour drive from Manila, Dingalan in Aurora boasts of rich geological features and some of the last remaining rainforests in our country. Being such, I expected this trip to be uniquely different. But just recently, this place, together with the provinces of Quezon, Nueva Ecija, and Bulacan, was the site of the worst typhoon disaster in Philippine history. In spite of this, however, the locals have slowly risen from the tragedy and are now inviting visitors to rediscover the region as an eco-tourist destination.
Tourism as an industry has proven itself that it generates income for the populace. That we are hoping that the people who are involved in the forest will get some income in the tourism industry, where they would spend time in the tourism industry rather than charcoal making or cutting down trees. If conservation, like tourism, will be profitable, then people in the destruction side of it right now will go to tourism.
For this Game Plan trip, we had 2 Gapan-based environmentalists for guides. Meet Mr. Manuel and his nephew Bong Padiernos.
Yeah, these are the stuff that we are actually promoting in Dingalan as sample souvenir items.
My initial impression of Tito Greg and Sila Bong was, wow, these guys are way too enthusiastic about the environment. But of course, you need that type of attitude to be a conservationist here in the Philippines because they have everything against them.
The cause of environmental protection in the town of Dingalan has become a race against time. In fact, the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO, lists the area's top 1 among 17 critical conservation priority areas in the country.
We consider this a front line in terms of our conservation efforts. It is the edge of the northern Sierra Madres and the southern Sierra Madres, divided by the Coronel River. So it's very important because if the gap between the forests become wide, as we are already seeing it, the wildlife will be cut off and isolated. When that happens, the probability of extinction is greatly increased.
Among the endangered wildlife in Dingalan is this native monkey.
This is a Philippine rhesus monkey.
That's as big as it gets.
No, this is a baby that was picked up when it got lost, I think, when the person went hunting. It was caught by a dog. Oh. So it's a good thing the dog didn't kill it.
Another animal threatened by the huge decrease in forest shelter is this Philippine eagle named Agulus.
This is a serpent eagle, a juvenile. This came from one of the neighbors here. I have noticed that the former owner have the intention of selling this eagle to those visitors who will bring it to some other place like Manila or Arangke. So concerned about the plight of this eagle, I decided to buy it and leave it in Dingalan, where he belongs.
Lucky for Mr. Manuel's group, in January, an ordinance in Dingalan's Barangay Tanawan declared its premises an official bird sanctuary.
In the future, very near future, we will introduce Agilus to this bird sanctuary, hoping that he finds a mate there and be back in the wild.
Another interesting creature they showed me was this huge snake, which, like the monkey and eagle, needed serious attention.
What exactly does it eat and where does it live?
Well, it eats wild birds,
Okay.
maybe some small mammals
Okay.
that it finds in the forest.
And it's a tree dweller.
Yeah, it's a tree dweller.
Okay, and of course, at the rate of logging here,
It stands to lose its home.
wow, you can just feel the power in its body.
Muscles.
After our close animal encounters, we set off to see more of Aurora province. Along the way, we stopped to check out this very prominent landmark.
So we're driving, and then all of a sudden I see this beautiful park, manicured lawns, manicured trees, and then lots of marble.
We're here at the Battle Memorial of the American POW camp in Pangatian, Cabanatuan. And this is just the site of the daring raid of Cabanatuan, unknown to many people. The great operations in World War II was the rescue of the POWs, many of them officers in this place. Many of them died, and both Filipino guerrillas and U.S. Army Rangers participated in the rescue.
A recorded 2,566 Filipino and American soldiers perished in the raid, which was widely regarded as World War II's greatest rescue mission. In fact, this epic encounter was the inspiration for a best-selling book and an upcoming Hollywood film.
There was a Brigadier General, Vicente Lim.
After that brief history lesson, we moved on to the town of Laur, a few kilometers west of Dingalan Bay.
We're driving again for another half hour on really bumpy road, and I'm thinking there's nothing here. It's so dry, and there's no greenery. It's all dead bush, dead everywhere. And all of a sudden, a small but thriving infrastructure built around this warm springs. So we go there, and apparently the cuento with that is 10 years ago, si Tito Greg was out walking with Silabong, and they were exploring, and they happened upon this small hole out of nowhere, and they check in and they say, oh, my hot springs dito.
Itong lugar na ito ay yung mainit hot spring kung sa barangay San Isidro na aming unti-unting dinibelop nang sa gayon ay pakinabangan ng aming mga kababayan, mga local tourists.
We soon reached Dingalan proper, and instantly, I was shocked to see firsthand the destruction made by the recent typhoon. But amidst this picture of devastation, Bong led us to these strange but beautiful rock formations by the beach.
This rock formation that we have here in Dingalan is very unusual because it's multicolored and it's tilted almost to 90 degrees. You seldom see this, and it's actually a geologic history of the Philippines. So we're seeing the process here in its infancy that formed the Sierra Madre mountain range.
With such an enlightening introduction to the region's geography and wildlife, I was certainly left raring for more. Up next, we visit the Dumagat village of Kapog and learn about the tribe's centuries-old culture. Keep it here on Game Plan. Aside from the endemic wildlife in the area, the native people in Dingalan, better known as Dumagats, were also affected by the recent series of typhoons.
The Dumagats are an indigenous tribe of the Philippines. They've been here for thousands of years, and unfortunately now their culture are becoming crowded out by Western civilization. It's tougher for them now. Because of the shrinking forests and the recent destruction, The dumagats have now been displaced. Some of them have died from this disaster. Some of them have been forced to relocate.
The dumagats in Barangay Cabog are unique in a sense that they possess intimate knowledge of the seas and the forests, which allowed them to survive in this area for centuries.
And their culture is also in danger of dying out because it's no longer profitable for them to practice their forest knowledge and their sea knowledge. Only the grandfathers and the fathers know their culture now. The kids are not adopting it precisely because it's not profitable.
Dumagats have their own dialect, their own manner of dressing, and strangely, their own way of attracting and capturing native birds. Another interesting thing about the dumagats is their food. Take this for example.
Ito yung pagkain namin nung unang panahon, ng mga katutubo. Ito, kung tawagin namin sa kanya, dito sa pagkain ito, agakan.
It actually has a peanutty taste. Starchy peanut, pang mani.
Next, Tito showed us the different contraptions they used in hunting wildlife.
Me being a guy and me being into weapons, I was very interested in how they use the various traps to catch the various sizes of prey.
Ito yung panghuli ng octopus. Kung tawagin namin kurita. Pag hinawakan ito ng octopus, dito sasabit siya.
That's the working model. Yeah.
This trap Tito prepared is used to capture running animals like wild boars, monkeys, and deer. This trap is carefully set up in tree branches to capture wild birds.
Pag humapo ng ibon, huli siya.
This one works great with crawling animals like lizards.
Pag akit ng alimos din akit siya riyan, dito naman wala naman ibang dadaanan, by dahon dito sa siwang sa dadaan. Pag siya ay umakit pa din may higpit yung tali.
Finally, I was taught how to use the dumagat's native bow and arrow.
I killed the grass.
After a few tries, I realized that bows and arrows weren't for me, so I resigned to just being an onlooker while the skilled dumagats showed off their hunting prowess.
Nice.